Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to RiverBend Lodge, the Tiger Talk. We're here on a Saturday morning after the Tigers pick up their first win of the year, a 40-12 win over Madison. And we're starting again. Welcome to RiverBend Lodge. What are you pointing? Oh, I'm live now. Good, thank you. Must be Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
But it's we're here after the Tigers pick up their first win of the season, a 40-12 win over Madison. We've got a full show today, got 3 or 4 interviews, but we'll start off as we usually do with Coach Dan Essenberg. And got a production thing going on. Here he comes right here, signing an autograph or something, I don't know. Welcome in, Coach Essenberg.
Welcome.
Coach, big win last night. Tigers looked pretty sharp in most aspects of the game, I thought.
Well, we did good things, and we really needed a win bad because when you take and totally change a whole system, and your coaches are all on board, and you're telling the players every day, this is how you do things, this is how you do things, and they're trying their best to do it, and trying to make them tougher and more physical, and all those things that are what Rosman football is supposed to be. They finally got a win. They got to see that it does work. That all these coaches telling them this stuff, we're not stupid. We do know what we're talking about, and that it does work. And so that I think that was a big plus for us. We did a lot of things well. Our offensive line did an outstanding job creating some holes in the backs, hit them hard and ran hard. We did a lot of good things. We still got to throw the ball better. But when we're running it like we were running it, we're not going to throw it just to throw it.
One of the things I was impressed with last night was the fact that the change of venue and all the pregame, I don't know what you'd call it, anarchy, didn't seem to affect you too much. I mean, we moved to our home stadium, which is always a plus, but you had your – football is one of those routine games where you get into a routine every week and you do the same things, and all of a sudden it gets changed on you on Thursday.
Well, the game's a game. You go play it. I told them when they asked me to do this, I said, well, I'll do it, but I'm not going to mow and I'm not going to paint. Well, I got to paint yesterday. So I've already mowed before. So, that's just part of it. But, no, we got some really good people. Everybody jumped in to help to switch it around. Derek did a good job, taking care of things. Jennifer came down with her bunch and got things set up to help out because we had coaches that normally do that were off at a bus driver's clinic, so they couldn't get away. They were taking their tests. So there was a lot of curves thrown at us, but, everybody jumped in. I'm sure the players were excited to get a chance to play at home and not have to take a road trip. But I don't think where we played would have mattered. I think that it was time for the stuff to show up, and it did.
And as you mentioned, I thought we were a lot more physical last night. I thought the offensive line, that was the first game where I've seen, like you said, the things you've put into place starting to fall into effect. I thought the offensive line was really good, but I continue to be impressed with our defensive backs. It's been a huge change in mindset. We're playing the ball now. We're not playing the receiver.
Yeah, Coach Allen's done a really good job with them, and we don't have a lot of depth, and it's tough because don't have that many secondary people. We have a lot of players that are, they're playing 2 spots on defense. They're playing 2 spots on offense. And we had 4 out hurt that and 2 of them have been playing quite a bit.
Right.
So, it's just, those are things that just happen with the game, but they've done a good job. We matched up with Madison. They were as young as we were.
Right.
They're a young football team, too, and they're trying to build. And so the matchup was there. This week coming is going to be a little harder, but maybe getting a taste of it, because even against Brevard, we did some things right. They were just like a little angle off, and it's not that we couldn't block them. It's just that we just didn't take the right angles, and we did Friday against Madison, and hopefully that'll continue throughout.
You said you had some folks out. As far as players, did we come out pretty injury-free after last night?
Oh yeah, everybody's fine from last night. We're still cramping a little bit, and that's a lot of minutes. I guess I need to run them more in practice. But
did you hear that?
I think it's probably more diet than that. We're actually in pretty good shape.
Right.
we've played ourselves into shape because we don't have that many players.
Right.
Practice hard every day, you're gonna get in shape.
And I think it was a really hot night last night for this late in the year. I mean, it was close to 90 yesterday.
Well, the heat don't bother us because we go right in the middle of it every day. I'm one of those old school guys. I mean, and I was forced to earlier when I was head coach because I had so many coaches that worked other jobs. They
Right.
couldn't get there till 4. So we practice in the heat of the day always. And I don't think you can get them in shape till you are going in the heat.
Right.
You talking about earlier, you said, getting that win. That means a lot. When you haven't won, I know when I went from one season to the next, my junior year to when you came in my senior year, it's like we'd forgot how to win. You have to get, that feeling, and it's just there's nothing like it when you win the ball game, and you get fired up, and it helps motivate you for the rest of the season.
Well, it puts a stamp on what you do every day. I mean, you're gaining something good out of it. And, we want to continue to improve. We want to get better each and every day. That's what I told them from day one. And for the most part, they are trying to do that. Keeping your focus. And, you have a little glitch of a practice here or there. But, all in all, I'm pleased. I'm pleased with the progress that's going. I hope it continues.
Well, when you win, it makes all the sweating, the bleeding, the pain, and hearing your name bellowed across the lower end of Rosman every day in practice, it makes it worth it.
Yeah, there's a few got chewed out again last night during the game.
Yeah, we could hear you. We could hear you in the press box a couple of times.
Coach, I guess the biggest injury we had last night was Coach Robinson. He took a fall there on a kick return. How's he doing?
Coach is fine. He took a hit too, boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I was just lucky to be out of the way, but they zoomed by me, and I didn't even know he got hit right away. But he's cracked his upper arm. He'll be at coach's meeting tomorrow. He's tough. But, I told him, I said, better you than me. I said, if it had me, they just put tombstone up and just step over me and go on because I don't know if I get out of the way anymore.
Well, I'm glad to hear that he's doing well. It was a scary shot.
Yeah, it was a shot. He was shook up.
Well, Coach, you talked a little bit about Smoky Mountain. I know you probably hadn't had a lot of time to look at them, but any impressions going into this week?
No, I mean, they're a good football team. There's no doubt about it. And we've had 2 people in our conference that have beat them already, and I know they're probably hungry. They got a win last night, but, I haven't really looked at them that much. I haven't looked at our film yet. We'll look at ours and prepare for Smoky throughout the weekend. We'll get a chance to take a look at them, but I'm sure they're going to be bigger than us, and they're going to be stronger than us, and they're probably going to be faster than us.
It's just kind of a weekly thing that we talk about.
That's kind of what we go into, and we want to, we've stepped it up a little bit, so, we still have to play near perfect for everything to come together. We don't have the ability to run around the block and then chase them down from the backside. I mean, we just can't do that. We got to do things the right way.
What would you grade out last night's game?
Excuse me?
Going 0 to 10, what would you grade out last night's game overall, how we played?
Well, I haven't really looked at the film yet, so I hesitate saying that because, after the VAR game, I really thought they were great, and then when I looked at the film, I realized that we were there a lot of times. We just didn't make plays.
No.
And against Madison, we did make the plays, and we're starting to, when you're as green, as green as we are, you don't have that playing experience. You don't understand. I mean, you can coach, okay, this is your gap, and you fly up that gap, but if that moves a half a hole, we just run into it, and we're starting to get to where we understand it. Our kicking game was far better.
Oh, yeah.
Far better.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been something that's haunted us the first 2 games.
But we were gang tackling last night, too. I mean,
So-
we were one got a hold of them, here comes 3 more.
Sure. And that's what you want. That's what you tell them. And so, I am pleased with the progress. We are getting better, and that's all we can ask for is get better each week.
I was impressed with our kicking game last night. A couple field goals. The young man got a leg on him.
Mason's a good kicker. I told him, everybody always talks about kickers. They're all nuts, every one of them. Every kicker I've ever had, they're a head case. And I told Mason, because he's not yet, and I said, Mason, you're just sophomore. I said, son, please be the kicker that's not a head case. I said, because I've always coached the kickers. And and he's doing exactly what you tell when he tweaks a little bit. He goes, Coach, I looked up. I mean, he knows. So, he's got a good leg. He's just a sophomore. He could be really special down the road with his kicking because he's good from 42 right now. I mean, that's probably his limit. But as he gets stronger, and he's gonna drive that thing.
We were talking last night because he went 4 for 5.
We missed one extra point.
4 for 5 on extra points and 2 for 2 on field goals with 25 and 27. Is that right?
So, yeah, something like that.
And when he in the Inca game, he kicked a 41-yarder. He missed it a little. Well, he had the distance. He just missed it a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the extra point he hooked it. And I told him, I said, if you start doing that every time, because that's his load-up kick. And I said, if that's what you do every time, then we just adjust your steps a little bit and kick it like that every time. He could be good from 45, 50.
Yeah.
But no, he's doing well, and he's an athlete. It's time for him to step up and start helping us receiver a little bit too.
Right. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time, and I know you got a lot of things to do this week to get ready for Smoky Mountain, and we always appreciate it. It's a great interview, and we appreciate you coming on the show every Saturday morning.
Not a problem. Thank you so
It's
much.
a lot more fun when it's been a win too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I know the players are enjoying it, but coaches, we enjoy it till tomorrow, and then we got to get back to work.
we were talking last night too, just seeing how the fans, everybody just kind of was just standing around hanging out after the game for so long and everything last night. Everybody's just soaking it in, really enjoying it.
So, yeah, and hopefully we got some more of those coming. So,
I hope so.
yeah.
Well, thanks, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Next interview, we've got we got one of our own here. He's been helping with the team. He's the team statistician, but he's also part of the Rosman Tiger Sports Network. And unfortunately, and I didn't mention this as we went on the air, I'd like to apologize for the fact that we didn't get on the air last night. We had some problems with our stream or our streaming device or something because we just couldn't make it work. So you missed Bill. The reason I mention that is Bill does our coaches interview now. And we had a really good coaches interview, but you didn't get a chance to hear it. So I want to introduce everybody to Bill Sack. He was down at the lower end of the county at the other school. For quite a few years as their on-air announcer. But he's up here with us now. Looks good in orange, and he's up in the press box with us every Friday night.
I got a upgrade and a better deal.
There you go.
Bigger check.
Yep, there
bigger
you go.
check. Yeah.
We were talking. He's been living in Rosman forever. He's just been, he was just driving too far for
Right.
football.
I want to see your contract if you got a bigger check.
That's confidential.
I negotiate mine with Jerry.
Well, Bill, I know you
No,
got
this
some
just went
stats from
downhill
last
fast.
night.
Well, it was a good night. I'll tell you that. Our stats rolled up. We got almost over twice as many numbers last night as we had in the first 2 weeks, guys. So we racked up 279 yards of total offense, and this is how we got it. Thomas Collins rolled up 114 yards with 12 rushes. We got 42 yards out of number 12. Number 15 rolled up 15 yards himself. Number 23 rolled up 60 yards. Number 44, he's a bull. I watched him. I mean, he was a bull. 38 yards on 8 rushes. So that's how we rolled up. I mean, score 40-12. Awesome night. Number one in my book. 8 penalties, 61 yards. Couple of personals there.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was such a big deal.
No.
But 279 yards. We held Smoky Mountain to 157 yards rushing and then 52 yards in the air. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at night.
No, and they didn't even get on the board till what, fourth quarter?
Mid-fourth quarter,
yeah.
yeah.
We let them in, and I guess maybe we got a little tired. Of course, they did score on a personal. We give them one
Well,
Right.
off a personal. We give them half the distance to the goal, and they only had 6 yards to score off of that. So
Bill,
we give 'em that.
I've heard Coach Essenberg use the word nasty before, and I think that's the kind of attitude we've got to develop. And sometimes you're
Right.
going to get penalized for that. We've had some years when we didn't play nasty enough, it's it's not what you want to see. But given the fact that we got the penalty, I'll take it. I mean, I'm glad to see us being aggressive. And
you're right. I ran around with an old coach for 15 years as a sidekick doing this announcing thing, and he used to always say every week just about it, as a football player, you have to have a mean streak, and you got to be nasty.
Right.
Yep. And, some kids are nasty and mean, and some have to learn how to be nasty and mean. And I think what Dan's trying to do is teach these kids how to be nasty and mean.
Well,
and you got to be.
And he said a couple of weeks ago, he said, we're going to play within the rules, but he said we're going to be nasty. We're going to play downhill, and I think we're starting to see the result of that. I mean, I thought last night we pushed Madison around. I thought we did pretty much what we wanted to the whole ball game.
Yep. And gang tackling, teaching how to be a gang tackler, and don't take it off of them.
Right.
Right. I'm going to push back, and you're going to know it. And I'm going to do it with 2 or 3 other Tigers.
Right.
So,
right.
And that's the way to do it.
And I agree. So, Bill, we appreciate you coming on board with us.
To be here. We found a second home.
There you go.
A bigger check. And, we eat good.
There we go.
We got cookies.
Got cookies. There's always cookies on this. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for having
yes, sir.
me, guys. I appreciate it.
And, as I said, listening, when we get back on the air on the radio, Bill does our coaches interviews for us now. So he's part of the Rosman Tiger Sports Network, and we're really glad to have you.
Going to do big things.
There you go. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
All right. Moving right along with our next interview, we have our player of the game from last week, Wyatt Owen, and he's going to join us now and talk to us a little bit about.
I'm good.
You going to do it? You going to do the interview?
Joey's the official microphone holder every
I'm the
He's
microphone.
not talking.
Okay.
He's just
You
holding
can
the
ask him
mic.
some questions. I'll
You're going to hold the microphone. All right.
I'm going to let him hold it. I'll just ask some questions.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for letting me come.
Congratulations on your player of the game, last week's Brevard game. Well, Wyatt, how long have you been playing football?
This year makes 11 years.
11 years.
I've been playing since I was 5 years old.
What do you play? What are your positions?
On offense, I'm the center, and on defense, I'm the right tackle.
Well, let's talk about last night a little bit, and then we'll go back to Brevard. How did you feel we executed from a player's perspective last night versus the first 2 weeks?
Offensively, we've done a lot better than we have in the past few weeks. We executed better. We made bigger holes for the running backs to run through. We got the ball moving.
Well, I think last night versus the last 2 weeks that watching from the press box, we won the line surge last night. We were getting a push last night, and and I think I think we did some things well against Brevard, but Madison, as young as we are and inexperienced as we are, and we played a team that we should have beat, and we took care of business last night. And I thought the offensive line play was pretty good. Defensively, what do you play? So,
right tackle.
Right. Okay, so you play defensive tackle. How'd you do defensively? How did the defensive line perform last night versus Madison's offensive line?
I think we did pretty good. We made a couple mistakes to where they got through. It happens, but we need to stop the mistakes to where there's no mistakes at all. We got to make sure that they don't get through the line to where they get to our backers.
I could tell a big difference from the Inca game to the Brevard game. We got the Brevard game. You could tell y'all were stepping it up. You were coming off harder. Just Brevard was kind of a buzzsaw, so it was kind of a, you play hard, but when you got a team that's playing that good and that experienced. But everything paid off last night, though. What y'all been doing different in practice, what y'all been working harder. I think y'all are starting to buy into what Coach Essenberg's saying. Y'all starting to realize, don't matter how big you are. Don't matter that we're getting outweighed 60 pounds across the front of the line. If you got enough heart and drive and you just play mad, y'all last night, you looked to me like you're just playing mad. Y'all were coming off the line, and y'all were just. I mean, there was times that y'all were driving the defensive lineman 6-7 yards downfield. I like to see that. Hit them and just keep your legs moving and just pound them down. And y'all were y'all were blowing some holes open last night. Looked good.
Sir.
I was glad to see, that fire and intensity come back and everything. If y'all keep that going through the season, y'all going to keep building and building and building every week. It's good to see. I'm a former lineman, so I like seeing my linemen do good. But real impressed. Y'all improved from week to week, y'all been improving and doing good. And last night, I mean, it paid off because you get to go home with a smile on your face and a big win over a team that, you know, they beat us the last 4 years. And been some dog fights. You know, we had the one a couple of years ago. It was what
70 to 42.
42.
1,190 yards total offense.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was going to ask you a question. I'm not asking you to compare coaches, but I'm asking you to compare philosophies. What's different from Coach Essenberg's philosophy on the offensive line versus Coach Stack's?
We're more intense on that part. We get lower than what he wanted us to do.
Okay.
We made bigger holes. We just get lower and more intense and make sure you run your feet all the time. Never quit, no matter what. Even if you're tired, you go 100%.
Right. So last year when you were a spread team, what was your assignment as an offensive lineman versus this year? You said you get low, you explode on the ball. What did you do differently last year philosophically? I mean, when you were in practice, what was emphasized versus this year?
Last year, just move the guy out of the way. Don't worry about trying to get low and everything. Just get him out of the way is all he told us really to do.
So,
to tell you the truth.
So you're using leverage more now.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're more aggressive. I think last night, and it's philosophical. It's not because one coach versus another. It's one kind of offense versus another. In that spread offense, you've got to take the guy on in front of you. It helps to be 260, but with what Coach Essenberg's doing with using leverage and moving your feet, you're able to get your head across somebody and get them out of the hole if they're 30 pounds heavier than you. I think that's made a huge difference. And as Matt said, I think last night we started to see some of the dividends of it. So let's talk about the Brevard game. Player of the game. Tell us what you did. How'd you get player of the game?
I played my proper techniques better on defense than I ever have. It was my best week I had so far at the time. I was just reading better, and I was just feeling good about defense, better than I usually did.
Do you like playing defense better than offense?
They're like 50-50 to me. Honestly, tell you the truth.
Defense is more fun. You know it. Because defense, you're getting just go attack somebody and go after them.
Yeah.
But I tell you, y'all looked really good last night. I was going to ask you,
When you think of it, wake up and we'll get it for you. But anyway, what are you planning to do after you get out of high school? What's your career goal? What's your ambitions?
I thought very seriously about going to school for diesel mechanics.
Cool.
I thought very seriously about it, just mechanics in general.
All right, that's awesome. You think about what the question is?
No, I was just going to say you was talking about philosophies a minute ago. Last year was more of a kind of a finesse style, and Coach Essenberg's more of a punch you in the nose style, and that's what y'all are starting to do now. You're coming out and you're hitting them. It's instead of just getting them pushed over here out of the way, you're hitting them and punishing them and driving them down the field, and that's it's just like he said, it's more of aggressive style football. I like it.
All right. RiverBend Lodge Player of the Game. There's a gift certificate from RiverBend Lodge.
Thank you.
If you haven't eaten here yet, you should. It's really good meals. I'll take a minute to advertise RiverBend Lodge. We certainly appreciate you coming out here this early in the morning after a ball game last night, because I know you're sore. I know you're beat up, but you're happy. You got a smile.
You really want to sleep in.
You got a smile on your face, and that's good. And I like to see that. And as Matt said, the crowd hung around last night after the game, and it was just a different feel. So congratulations on your first win. Congratulations on your player of the game last week, and I hope for bigger things moving forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You'll enjoy you some breakfast.
All right, we got one more interview back there, maybe two more. We got to bring Corey up in a little while, but for right now, I want to bring the president of the Tiger Club up. Oh, what's your title?
The representative.
The spokesman for the spokesman for the meeting, for the Tiger Club, Shawn Lyday. Shawn, thanks for coming. I know early, but it's a good breakfast.
Yeah, it's a good breakfast. I mean, it was.
Well, tell us about the Tiger Club. What y'all are doing this year? What you're trying to do? How folks can help out?
The main goal is, of course, we run all concessions for every sporting event that's
Right.
at Rosman, and of course, all that money goes back into Tiger athletics in some form, some fashion.
Right.
The biggest thing is right now we've got a lot of help coming from churches, coming from different organizations that help on Friday nights and staff concession stands. I mean, that's where it helps us the most, and that's where we need that help the most. So anybody that's, willing and able to come out and help, or groups or churches or anybody, businesses, anybody that would like to run a concession stand for a night, that helps. That keeps parents free where they can watch their kids.
Right.
And it also, keeps us from having to pay out to have somebody come in and run a concession stand for a night. And that's the money, that we're taking away from athletics if we don't have to do that.
Right. Well, one of the things that I was impressed with last night, just as I said with Coach Essenberg, is how y'all managed to pull off in 24 hours a home game.
Yeah, that was a little trying yesterday. Yeah.
Everybody all the way around, it was quick. I didn't even find out till for sure what happened till 7:30 Friday morning. I was like, uh-oh. I was calling and texting people left and right, and we got to make some changes.
I think Derek texted me around 7:20
Friday morning
and said it was 100% a go.
Yeah, that was me. I got Coach Cook.
That was just a big thing. The school chipped in yesterday. They let the kids with PE classes come in and help Coach Essenberg on the field. They sent some in the concession stand to help stock. It was a big all-around effort.
Well, it speaks for the Rosman community, Rosman family. When we have something like that, everybody, y'all the volunteers are coming out, the students are coming out, the coaches, everybody's going to come together to make it happen. I mean, no matter what you got to do, everybody's going to make a sacrifice and try to make it happen.
So, and I guess kind of cap off a little bit with us. The big thing is, if you want to make donations, we're willing to take donations. All that money goes back into athletics. If you're willing to help, the parents this year's been a big help. They're always in concessions doing stuff. But the big thing is, just trying to get some more money for the bigger ticket items and things that's where we're trying to help the most now, is things that they need that they don't have.
Right.
Well, as far as is there a membership in the Tiger Club, a membership fee, or is it donations based, or how do you do that?
As of right now, it's just basically the ones of us that are there are the ones that are doing it.
Right.
We're trying to get back on a good rotation of having some meetings, try to get some involvement. We've got a Facebook page. Everybody follows the Facebook page, Rosman Athletic Booster Club. We try to post things as we're doing them, post things as we're needing help. But anybody that's willing to help, just find one of us. Any ideas, we're more than welcome to hear some ideas to try to get some more money brought in and try to help.
And Shawn, as you said, you do all the athletic events. So this time of year, that doesn't just mean Friday nights. I mean, you could be there 3 or 4 nights a week doing an event in the gym or at the field or somewhere.
Yeah, we'll be there starting about 12 o'clock today, getting ready for the home volleyball game.
Volleyball. One suggestion I've got is you could start doing like press box delivery. That'd be great. We could order and then get that. That would be great. We'd like that.
Have somebody coming every 5 minutes.
We'll just bring a tray at one time.
That works. I'm good with
You'll have
that.
to bring another one because it'll be gone 5 minutes after.
So you say that church groups help out, you can get individuals help out. It doesn't require a group. Somebody can just show up and help out, right?
Yeah, if somebody's willing to help out, we're not going to tell you just because you're one person that we'll find something.
I was thinking last year y'all had some groups from Brevard College, I believe, came and volunteered and helped out or something. There was some, I think it was one of the sports teams or something, maybe.
There's been different organizations off and on.
Yeah.
Like Friday nights, most of the time, churches cover Friday nights for us. If you've got a group that wants to work Friday nights,
But you also
8 to 10
have your
people to about what you need, and it's nice to have that many for 2 shifts if you can have them. But you can manage it with 8 to 10 people.
But you also have your JV games as well as your volleyball.
Yeah,
and
JV right now, varsity football players are working JV just to try to help keep that covered. But anybody that would be willing to work a JV game, it gives the varsity kids a night off before they play on Friday. So.
Right. Good. Well, Shawn, we appreciate your time and appreciate you coming out here and speaking up for the Tiger Club. And how would somebody get in contact with you if they wanted to volunteer?
Anybody's got Facebook. It's very easy just to reach out to us on Facebook. We're all watching the Facebook account, so you can hit us up that way. Or, you can call the school and leave a message with Derek, and he will be more than willing to get it to us. So.
All right, or just drop by the concession stand. There you go.
One of us is in there all the time.
Well, thanks for taking some time with us, and we appreciate it. And we'd like to get y'all back later in the year and see how successful it's been.
We could do that.
All right. Thank you.
sir.
All right. Got one more interview up here, but we'll go to the scores first.
I was going to say, let's run.
Matt's dying. He's got
We
these.
have, that's,
Yeah.
That's the interview? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Do some scores from last night. Yeah, I've been sitting here just chomping to bits to do these. Last night, Smoky Mountain, for, the third week in a row, played a Smoky Mountain Conference team. And the first 2 weeks, they weren't too successful. Last night, Smoky Mountain kind of handled Cherokee 49-7. Swain faced off against Inca 44-14. Robbinsville early on, it was kind of a dogfight with Irwin. And then they finally kind of pulled away there and took them out 54-21. You want to go ahead and?
Well, one of the things I wanted to say about that Swain Inca game is it was a dogfight for 2.5 quarters. It was 25-14 in the fourth quarter. Swain, I guess, wore them down.
Yeah.
Swain's got a lot of people. They've got a lot of people who've played. They rotate a lot of people through ball games, and that helps come fourth quarter of a close ball game.
Oh, definitely.
And as far as Smoky Mountain, they're 1-2 in the Smoky Mountain Conference, and that's our opponent next week. So they started their season with 4 Smoky Mountain Conference opponents. It's a bigger school, but that's a great way. I mean, the Smoky Mountain Conference is a tough conference, and it's a good test for them to go through the Smoky Mountain Conference gauntlet.
Well, I was going to say, they want to play a tough schedule. Mm-hmm. That's the way to do it. I mean, because we brag about it. We brag about the Smoky Mountain Conference like some people brag about the
SEC.
Yeah.
Well,
or the Cowboys.
Murphy.
But,
yeah.
Cowboys.
Call me back. We only answer after the 5th ring. All right. Murphy beat the Georgia Force last night, 40-9. Hayesville fell to Tellico Plains, 41-6, and down the road, Brevard traveled to East Rutherford. And
dogfight down there.
Tough ball game, tough defensive ball game. One of our sources said that was one of the best defensive football games he's ever seen.
Yep.
And it was a dogfight all night.
And I believe he also said East Rutherford had a kid that was 6'4", 6'7",
Seven around, yeah,
about 400
400 plus, yeah.
400 pounds. That's somebody you got 2 or 3 guys have to move
sure
around.
Mars got some very tired linemen.
I guarantee you they do.
Pushing that sled up and down the field last night.
That's like a double sled. It's just not one sled, double.
When the coaches used to get mad and they stood on the sled.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, Hendersonville and Asheville, that was a shootout. 34-26 at halftime. Wound up 47-40 Hendersonville.
Back and forth.
Back and forth. And West defeated East pretty easily. Kind of surprised me. West been 41-10 over East Henderson.
West Henderson's 3-0. They've took out Hendersonville. They've took out East, and I can't remember who they played.
They played. Was it North?
North.
Yeah.
West is playing some ball over there. I tell you, they're doing pretty good. This one was a late score. I was finally able to get Mitchell faced off against Trinity Academy. Some of y'all remember we played them a few times. It's from over in Tennessee.
Right.
And they beat them 38-12. And in the as we call it, the big money game of the year.
Yeah, the Money Bowl.
The Money Bowl, Pisgah and Tuscola. Those of you who don't know what we're talking about, they do the 50-50 that usually is somewhere between 20 and 30,000. Last night. Yeah, go ahead.
27-5 is the last number I heard last
yeah,
night.
last I heard was a little over 20.
27-5.
I know last year was I think around 28, but Pisgah pretty much had a handle on that one last night and come away with 42-10 victory over Tuscola. This is one that's surprising me.
Raven Gap 45, Franklin 35. But we saw Raven Gap in a scrimmage. They got a lot of athletes. They got athletes all over the field.
They do.
Franklin's a great program, but it's tough. You can't beat speed sometimes. And
Franklin's been struggling.
They
last
have.
Couple of years they've been falling back from what they used to be. Because used to Franklin Murphy, Franklin Swain, Franklin Brevard was just some marquee matchups every year.
Mm-hmm.
And Franklin started the season 0-3.
Right.
And I don't remember.
They just not.
I don't remember in the last 5-6 years they've started 0-3 that I can remember. Maybe the last 10 years.
They've been dropping back a little bit, but they've not had this slow of a start.
But given the schedule they played, it's pretty tough. I mean, they have played Murphy. I thought Raven Gap was a really decent football team when we saw them. I thought they were.
They were really good.
Now, another surprise on the other end of the spectrum is North Buncombe. North Buncome's 3-0. North Buncome's come out of the shadows and they're playing well. Last night, put it on Avery, 44-21.
There's a big matchup coming up. If I remember right on my schedule, I should have brought the schedule with me, but I'm pretty sure that we've got a West Henderson North Buncombe matchup next Friday, and it's one of our Pick 4 games.
That would be a fun one to watch, too.
So you'll have 2 3-0 teams going up against each other. We'll see where they both stand.
And, Reynolds started the year 0-2 this year and finally got a win last night over Owen 35-3. But, Reynolds finding themselves in an unusual situation. They're hardly ever 0-2. That's another program that's always up.
Right.
Yeah.
And one that – go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree. AC Reynolds is just 0-2 was, I couldn't believe they were 0-2. The first team, I know they play tough schedule, but usually AC Reynolds is.
Well, we remember the days when Reynolds was just pounding people back when, what was the coach that was over there? I can't remember his name.
Coach Connor, Scott Connor, years ago.
And the one it's kind of shocking me, T.C. Robertson. T.C. Robertson's just having, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know if they've scored the last 2 weeks.
I don't believe they have either.
They're a big school. They've got tons of kids, tons of athletes over there, and they're having a tough time. They dropped 48-0 to Kings Mountain last night.
And Polk's started off well. They beat Cherokee similar to that score. I think it was 43-7 or something last night. They beat RS Central 42-0. So Polk off to a pretty good start as well. So those are your scores from Western North Carolina, and
of course ours 40-12.
Yeah, 40-12. The Tigers defeated Madison. We got a couple more interviews, but they're eating right now, so we'll let them eat. Let's talk about we went straight to Coach Essenberg. What were your impressions last night
Of the ball game?
Of the ball game, either one of you. What did you? I mean, it's always great to get a win, but breaking it down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with what Coach Essenberg said. The offensive line, they looked awesome last night, pushing people back. Again, I'm impressed with the secondary. I mean, we talked about that all night. They're playing the ball, making big hits. And we had one interception last night, and if he wouldn't have failed, I think he might have found pay dirt at the end of that. And
we had another one.
We had a drop too. It was in the hands,
but 2 would have been pick 6.
And we were talking up there last night. The kicking game, we're impressed with the field goals and extra points, and I can't remember when we've had a kicker in the last few years that Manny
about 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah. So I mean, it's nice to see. Points is points. I mean, whether you get touchdown or field goal, if you come away with 3, that's okay.
Well, it's making us more of a complete team.
It is.
And 2 kickoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had years that we kicked the ball off and it might have made it to the 25 or 30-yard line. Yeah. And he's getting some good deep kickoffs.
Well, we also punted the ball well when we had 2 last night. A couple of really good punts. One in particular. Madison applied some pressure. He was able to get it off, and with the roll and everything, it was a 40-yard plus punt. So
the biggest thing I took out of last night was we just wanted it. We wanted it, and we took it. They come out there and they played hard. They played forceful. They were swarm tackling. When they were blocking, it wasn't come off the line and give a hard hit. I mean, they were coming off the line, hitting them and driving kids. 5, 6 yards down the field. We talked going to the whistle blow.
We talked to Nathan Mahoney last night after the game, and he said that was a point of emphasis last week in practice was move. Keep your feet moving, keep your feet moving, keep your feet moving. So
and Wyatt was the same thing. Keep your feet moving, stay active, and keep going. And that's the thing. I think we did the improvement of seeing because the Inca game we were hitting hard,
right?
But it's like we weren't following through as much. Brevard, we started doing a little bit more, but it was just you had a massive line in front of you. Last night we played a team more on par with Rosman, and you see what happened when you play somebody it's more you're closer to being even matched up with, and then we dominated. We absolutely.
Well, the thing about Brevard is if you're not exactly where you're supposed to be, they have enough team speed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you make one mistake, you're not in one player's not in position. It breaks down.
Well, and Coach Pritchard's done a good job, too. They've got a weight program down there. They're strong. They're not just big. I mean, they're strong.
Right.
They are.
All the positions. So, like Coach Essenberg said last week, and again, when you're playing a team like Brevard, you have to play perfect football.
You had to play perfect football. You do.
And with us being young, we're not. But last night, we took a huge step forward to getting there.
Yes, we did.
Last night, we had a lot of players that went from being green players to taking a step to being veteran players because they stepped up, they did their assignments, they did it well, they executed the game plan, what they were supposed to do. Each position was pulling their weight and doing what they were supposed to do when they're supposed to do it, and it shows on the field.
And you can see the running backs hitting the holes last night. I think Coach Essenberg alluded to that a little while ago. they opened up holes. Running backs were hitting them when they're supposed to, getting through.
And downfield.
Yeah.
We would get. I was watching several of the running backs. They get downfield running, and they would slow up, and wait to pick up, wait for the wide receiver, or the tight end that's downfield with them to pick up that extra block to get more yards.
Yeah.
Smart football. As
Exactly.
playing smart football, they realized they could gear back a little bit and get that extra block and pick up an extra 5 yards. They were playing smart. They were running smart, and like I said too, they were hitting holes. They were just pounding the holes. Everybody just played hard last night. They were hitting and playing hard, and I was impressed.
And I think that the mistakes late in the ball game, the penalties that were, what do you call them? We got a little chippy at the end of the ball game, and I'm okay with that. I mean, as I said last night, or I said just a few minutes ago, I'm fine with the penalties of aggression. I mean, I know Coach Essenberg is going to fine-tune things come Monday, but as far as being a fan after years and years of watching us not get nasty, I like it.
If our guys are getting ticked off,
right,
and our guys are getting, I hate when they call them personal fouls, but if we get a personal foul, our guys are getting ticked off. That tells me they're getting fired up. Tells me the game means something to them. Tells me they're getting wound up, and it don't bother me. I mean, I know it bothers the coach because especially if you might get kicked or something, then you can't play the next week. But and coaches get mad about penalties and stuff. But at the same time, though, they fuss the players they get mad about. But at the same time, I know deep down they kind of feel like, yeah, I know they're getting there. They're playing hard,
right?
So and, that the I call it the phantom roughing the passer call. You got to be throwing the ball to be rough, have unnecessary roughness or roughing the passer. From what I heard, the explanation was they wrapped him up around his ankles. Yeah. I believe it's tackle football.
Well,
that's how you play.
When I was growing up, we called that a sack.
Exactly, that's what we called it.
According to the explanation this morning, they called a late hit. I didn't really see the late hit, but okay. We've all known that referees sometimes see things differently than we do.
Oh, so it was after the snap.
It was after the snap, somewhere between the snap and the next whistle. Yeah.
So that's what made it late.
So anyway.
Well, then there was that. I told Eddie Lance that we had that. We went on the defense, or we went on offense. They had that roughing the linebacker call that they had against them.
Well, we're here at RiverBend Lodge for the Saturday morning Tiger Talk, and we've had a busy show. But I got one more interview if he's done eating breakfast. If not, we'll let him finish. Nope, he's heading this way. We got Coach Austin Cook with us, one of the young coaches here at Rosman, and he's been a big part of this football team, and he does a lot of things that Coach Essenberg doesn't do.
Just plain doesn't want to do.
Coach Cook is the director of football operations, and as you all know from listening to the interviews, Coach Essenberg is kind of old school, and when the game's changed around us, there's a lot of things now that have to be done, and Coach Cook takes care of that. What kind of stuff do you do, Coach?
Well, he'll tell you he has trouble accessing his email. He don't know how to send out emails. The paper's got to get all of our stuff, and the high school huddle, the Asheville Citizens Times, and Blue Ridge Now and all that, so I take care of all that for him, and Max preps. He don't know how to do that, and there's an app for that. It's pretty easy. But
his defense, anybody over the age of 35 is kind of a problem with electronics.
Yeah,
so.
You're right. So he told me, when he got the job that he wasn't going to do it, and he knew that I'd kind of helped the previous coach out with that before. So I do all that, and huddle, exchange film with the other coaches and stuff. Smoky Mountain, we did that last night, and we do that every week, and. He'll plain tell you he don't even know how to run huddle. So
let's back up just a second. Where did you play high school and college ball at?
I played at East Henderson. As everybody probably knows, the name Brett Chappell. I played for him in high school, and then when Coach Chappell left and went to Pisgah, I transferred and played at Christ School my last 2 years, and then went on to play at North Greenville University in South Carolina.
So. Well, in addition to taking. That's all, folks. In addition,
we're multilingual here in our show.
Well, we do speak Southern Appalachian and English, so those are two different languages. But anyway, in addition to taking care of the electronic side of the house, what do you coach?
Offensive line and outside linebackers.
Well, we've been talking all morning. I know y'all probably. I don't know if you heard us back there or not, but we were impressed with the offensive line play last night. What What have you been emphasizing from August 1st to now?
Just physical play. That was something even last year that I tried to instill in those guys up front, because no matter what, those five up front, they've got to be physical. They've got to play tough. Coming off the ball low, driving your guy out. And that's something that we really emphasized this week. Really getting down there and driving those guys out. They're working on our double teams the right way, coming together and getting hip to hip. And we were talking before the game last night, a little pregame, meetings and whatnot. I looked at the offensive lineman. I said, you do realize that the only stat an offensive lineman can have is a pancake block.
Right.
I kind of thought that was an obvious. And all of them kind of looked at me like, really? We have a stat. And I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, they were surprised they had a stat. Right?
And, during the game last night, we probably had 25 of those, maybe. And they're all looking at the sideline, pointing at me like, you see that? Did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, I did. If we would play like that, like we did last night up front every game, we'll put ourselves in a great position to win a football game, all the time. So I was proud of those guys. Really taking the challenge of, going out there and playing hard and tough and finishing your block. Finishing on top of somebody. There's no better feeling in the world, in my opinion. So I think they took pride in that last night, and it showed.
So as far as conditioning, and I know Coach Swearingen does a lot of that, what do you guys emphasize from week to week as coaches, as far as in-season conditioning? Because I think we're getting more conditioned. Last night was a little hot. We had a few cramps, but, we've got to be physically fit. We got kids that play both ways. We got kids that play – they walk on the field at 7:30 and they walk off the field at 10, and they don't get a break.
Right. Well, we kind of emphasize it in our fundamental time. We'll hit the sled a lot as offensive linemen, and that's a big thing for us. Because really getting in that sled and driving it for 5 to 6 seconds, that's a play. And you got me and Coach Rob standing on each side of the sled. That's about 650 pounds on top of the sled. Trying to move it out of there. So they really got to move their feet.
If you need somebody to come ride it, I'll jump on there.
We can Rosman Tiger Sports Network
can
ride for you.
Yeah, we're
riding
around. We're good with
really
that.
Doing that every week, that helps them out a lot, and it's shown. The past 3 weeks, we've done it every day in practice, and it's finally kind of getting to where, we're conditioned to play like that up front.
Well, we're coaches talked about it. Coach Essenberg talked about it every week. Everybody we face, we're going to be smaller than. We're going to be outweighed across the front.
Yeah.
So you got a condition where they're playing bigger than they are.
Yeah.
If you got a 180-pound lineman, he's got to play like he's 240.
Yeah.
You got a 220-pound lineman, he's got to play like he's 280.
Right.
They got to just play up from their size because they're going to be looking at giants across the line just about every week. But last night, I was real impressed. Last night is just biggest thing, instead of that just initial pop coming off the line last night, they were playing to the whistle. I mean, they were driving people down the field, and they were just they're getting mean.
And I hope it felt good to them because that's, I try to get them to understand if you will just do it one time, I promise the rush and feeling you get after putting somebody on their back and finishing till the whistle, you'll want to do it every play. And I think it showed last night finally. Those guys understand that that's how it is.
Back when I played, one of the most gratifying feelings is we run a trap block, and when you're the pulling guard and that defensive end just steps up and you absolutely kill them, that's the best feeling.
Get out there last night. I love him to death. I know what he's going to say in film on Monday. He cut the guy downfield, but he really didn't. He got him at the hip. And I know exactly what he's going to say. He's going to say, Coach, you told me that I'm supposed to hit him at the hip. I'm going to say, Gabe, that's on the line of scrimmage. Do that downfield. But, I love the aggression. He's a heck of a player. We've got 5 dudes up front. We're finally getting there. Grant's come a long way. We moved Wyatt to center, and he's done a great job the last 2 weeks, and Mahoney and Schloneker. Hopefully we'll get Norton back this week, and that'll give us a little bit more of a rotation to kind of help us out, because we were short last night, linemen. So you could tell there towards the end they were about dog tired, but they fought hard and great job last night. We can't fault them for too much.
Well, I think your linemen are pretty happy. When we were interviewing Wyatt a few minutes ago, he had a big smile on his face for the whole interview. So I think that kind of kicked in, that aggressive play. And one of the things that we've used this word a lot is that it's good to see Rosman play nasty. We haven't played nasty for a while, and I think old school Rosman football was exactly that. There were years when we were nothing but nasty. We won 7 games being nasty.
Right.
And I'm glad to see that coming back, and I think that's a reflection on the more physical offensive set we run.
Yeah.
And I know
Philosophy
the
is the
spread
philosophy.
requires you to do different things offensively, but Wyatt talked about getting your pads low, getting leverage on somebody and moving your feet. It's a simple concept, but it's taken us, as a young offensive line, it's taken us 3 weeks to catch that.
Yeah, it has.
But
and I hope that Smoky Mountain, they're going to be a little bigger than what we saw last night. I looked a little film on them late last night, and but they're slow. And we have the ability to get on them quick and get them and get low and get them out of there. No different than we played last night, and we'll be fine. That's what I try to get them to understand. Just because they're 6'4", 6'5", 300, don't mean you can't move them.
One thing
Really, those guys in this, most teams we're going to play, those guys that are that big, they're going to be a little slow.
One thing that impressed me last night was when we run outside, the seal blocks that we were getting.
Yeah.
We were getting downfield good. I mean, they were moving it down the field, and we were sealing that corner to allow that tailback to turn up and get an extra 5 or 6 yards or have the chance to break whatever. I mean, we're fast. We got the linemen. We might be a little bit smaller size, but they're quick.
Mm-hmm.
And they were really showing that last night. Not just the power and hitting hard, but they were showing that they can. They're faster than other people. And a lot of times, if you can get there first, it means a lot.
I'm going to tell them on Monday. You guys really, you didn't necessarily screw up, but you showed me you can do it. So now there should be no excuse as to why we can't go do it again.
Yeah.
Well, I think last night, as Coach Essenberg started his interview, we needed a win. We got a big win. I felt pretty early on that we were comfortable, that we knew we were, it just felt right last night. And I hope that carries over. I think that turns – Coach Essenberg had said earlier in the year that he had a bunch of folks who may be upperclassmen school-wise, but they were sophomores. I think this turned sophomores into juniors last night.
I think so. With the whole deal of the game changing over and not knowing really until the day of, and finally getting everything situated, and the kids just not really caring. They just come out and played wherever they were at, and it didn't affect them at all. Everybody was expecting to release at 1 o'clock, get on the bus and drive, and they stayed in class, and we got things done. And
Sure, they weren't real thrilled about that.
Kids, so.
Well, I've said this this will be the third time, but kudos to you and to all the other coaches and everybody who put that together last night. I mean, I got up at 6 o'clock yesterday morning expecting to drive to Marshall, and by 7:30 Friday night, we had a full house. We had a concession stand open. We had the field looking good. It was just an all-around great effort.
Yeah, when I got there at like 4:30, they were finishing painting the Tiger
Right.
Paw. So it was all day.
We were still putting the tunnel up right before we come out of the locker room. So it was kind of right up to the last minute. We were finishing things up.
But y'all did though. You pulled it off.
We've got a great group of people. We could call anybody at any given time in this community, and they're hands-on, ready to roll. And that's not you don't have that benefit a lot of places. And that's one good thing about Rosman that I love. People are willing to come out and help, and no matter the situation. So,
well, Coach, we've said throughout our broadcast the couple weeks we've been on that we're really impressed with the coaching staff. There's a great blend of experience and youth, and I guess my last question to you is, I know you pick up a lot of things from Coach Essenberg, Coach Robinson, these guys that have been around a while. What's been the biggest influence on you so far from these guys?
I guess it's just being persistent so much. It's easy to get down after the first 2 games we had. And I guess the biggest thing is just sticking with what we do and not trying to change everything, so much, looking at adding this or not adding that or, changing this or changing – we've really only changed a couple things, and we've stuck to our guns and run what we can run, and it paid off last night. And I think it'll continue to do that, learning to just kind of stick with it, even if you're going to go through growing pains. That's football, and just learning to stick with that no matter what. It's going to work out eventually. It just depends on when.
And that's one of the things I'm glad to hear you say, because one of my favorite quotes from Coach Essenberg ever, and I heard him say it the first time he was here, but I certainly have heard him reflect on it, is we don't worry too much about what other people do. We worry about what we do. And, really successful folks in sports and the military and other places, that's exactly how they succeed. Is they don't worry about what other people do. They make sure they do everything right.
Right.
And so, that's great to hear you say that. That's great that's rubbing off, because you're a young guy. One day you're probably going to be a head coach. You're going to be, you're going to take on those kind of responsibilities, and it's good that you get this mentorship early in your career.
And I think it's good, the kids have finally figured that out too.
Yeah.
And, we preached to them hard for the last 3 weeks. The thing about it is we can only control what we can control.
Right.
And, we can't control how the ball falls. Whatever happens, if you just got to go out there and play and practice, and, people who practice hard and work hard, it will pay off. And, there's always been a quote that I love, and, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. And, there's going to be a lot of teams that's going to be more talented. They're going to be bigger. They're going to be faster. But we work hard.
Right.
And we've taken pride in working hard. And it paid off. We had a good week of practice. The kids worked really hard. It was hot this week.
Oh, yeah.
And, we had a couple of them had to run for missing on Monday and stuff like that. And they come right back. And, they were ready to roll. So we had a great week of practice. And it works out like it's supposed to when people work and you work hard. So.
Coach, we appreciate you joining us and share it. You're always the one sharing the film with us and stuff, so we can see the highlights and stuff. And thanks for coming in this morning and talking with us.
I sure do appreciate it.
And I hope you're enjoying a good meal out there. I told you this is a good place.
I am. I hadn't had breakfast here yet, but it seems to be pretty good. My first plate was good. I'm gonna have a few more. So.
I don't blame you. I'm going to join you in just a minute myself.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
We got.
Let's talk a little volleyball.
Oh wow, yeah. Let's talk a little volleyball.
This week, the girls had 2 games. They had a game Tuesday night against Cherokee,
Right.
Which they came out 3-0 win, and put them at 4-0 on the season.
Right.
Good start. Then Thursday night they faced up against Hayesville, and Hayesville's always tough in volleyball. And fortunately, we had our first loss on the season, but took it to 5 games. The girls are playing tough. Ashton and Jessica are really getting they're playing fantastic. I mean, they're getting them fired up, they're getting them motivated. They're just playing hard. They're playing tough. They had a stretch there. They went. I think they won the first game, the first set against Hayesville, which made them 13 straight that they had won.
Mm-hmm. That's
13
impressive.
straight games that they had won,
Mhm.
and because they dropped the first 2 to Raven Gap.
Right.
First matchup, then they won 3 in a row, and then they had shutouts, and just shows you they've just you got a first-year coach for volleyball,
Right.
and but they had the experience of being part of a state championship team. They've come out and they've really done a good job. And today, if folks, if you can make it out, was it 1 o'clock start?
1 o'clock start, yeah.
1 o'clock start at home versus Brevard. Brevard's got a pretty solid team this year. They're a little bit slower start than what Rosman has, but actually I work with one of my coworkers. His daughter plays for Brevard's team. They've got a good squad, and I think it'll be a good matchup today. I think it's going to be a good game. It's a rivalry because they're right here close together. It's going to be a good game. We come out and support football, come out and support volleyball too.
I've been really impressed. I've gotten a chance to watch them a couple of times, and I don't know much about volleyball, but they look really good. They play well. They, we got folks who make the kill or the ace or whatever it's called, and we've got players that play all over the floor. And
this is what we keep asking for somebody out there that knows volleyball to come and talk
yeah.
for us.
Speaking of that, next week we're going to have coach with us, head coach.
Well, she'll know volleyball.
She'll know volleyball for
So,
sure, and she's going to be with us next week, and she's going to join us in the first part of the show. And
maybe we need to get Ashton next week, and then we'll see if we can get Jessica the week after. And that way we'll have 2 weeks in a row somebody that knows volleyball.
Yeah, because I love to watch it, but I just don't know that much about it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
please,
the rules have changed.
Well, yeah, from when I was in school, you had to break the set and then serve, and volleyball games went for hours.
15 you won. Now it's like 25. I don't understand.
The only complaint I have about volleyball, and I'll leave it at this, has nothing to do with Rosman or anything else, is you have 45 minutes of warm-ups and 5 minutes of game. and it's just crazy because you go out here and you do these 5-minute sets, and then you rotate to the other side of the floor, and there's all this pageantry going on. I like just get in there and play the game. Just it's at 7:30 you kick off. You don't stop at halftime and dance around a little bit. You keep playing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's my only complaint. That has nothing to do with us or our success or anything else. I love the game. I love watching the game, but I wish we could just cut the commercials and go straight to action. You know, so
tell you
that's
what,
my comment on volleyball.
I am proud of the girls this year. That
I am too.
They are playing really
They're
hard.
off to a good start.
Well, folks, we got one more interview, but I don't see him. He's run out of the room. I wanted to get Corey here. We're at RiverBend Lodge, and I want to get Corey in here to see what he's got going on this week and see what kind of specials he's got. He's always got something going on, and, you know, when he comes in here, we'll get him. But other than that, next week we got Smoky Mountain. And
We saw Smokey last year in the scrimmage.
yeah,
Actually matched up pretty well against them. We only scrimmaged them like it was short. It was kind of a quarter and a half, but matched up pretty decent against them last year. Now we had some graduates, you know, went out. I think they did as well. Like Coach said, they're going to be bigger than us, but honestly, I think matchup wise, you know, they're going to be picked to win. They're going to be favored to win, and they're going to be bigger, you know, everything across the front. But I think we're kind of a matchup nightmare for them, though.
I think so, too.
In my feeling, I think we're going to be a tough matchup for them.
Yeah, we're going to be quicker than they are. Listen to Coach Cook there. He's seen a little bit of film on their offense. Their linemen are slow, and so hey, we're maybe a little quicker for them. Maybe works to our favor.
Right.
well, folks, come out to watch the volleyball game today. Oh, here he comes. There's Corey. We got come out to watch the volleyball game today at 1 o'clock. Follow the Tigers over to Smoky Mountain next week, and as the Tigers take on the Smoky Mountain Mustangs, and we're getting ready for conference play, and we've played a pretty tough out of conference schedule, but it gets tougher when you go into conference. We got
2 more before conference starts.
yeah, we're playing a really good conference, and the Tigers are going to be in a battle every night this year. But I was really impressed last night with the effort. I was really impressed last night with the playing nasty. I know it's that's to me has been one of the biggest mindset shifts is we're playing downhill now, and I think that's probably that's definitely a building block. You play nasty one week, you go out and play nasty next week, because if you don't, as Coach Cook said, now you don't have an excuse. We know you can play nasty, and now there's no excuse. So you build on that every week.
I think we opened something up last night.
Yeah, I think so, too.
It's just going to be a building up even better, more and more each week. Corey, what you got going on this week?
Well, so last night we had Steel Creek come in and play for us, and we had a good time. And doing our steak night on Fridays and Saturday nights, is going on still until the stockyard runs out of cows. We're going to keep doing the steak night, because that's doing pretty good, and it's something that seems to go over real well, and people enjoy it. And I mean, not many places you can go and have steak and crab legs for under $25, and
Right.
baked potato and side salad and all that good stuff. So that's awesome. And then my wife, she's vegetarian, and when we first started dating, I said, man, you're about the cheapest date, because I could take her to Taco Bell and spend $4.
What in the world is vegetarian at Taco Bell?
All right, she gets a 7-layer. All right,
Okay.
from Taco Bell with no guacamole.
Right.
So I don't know why they call it a 7-layer. It's just 6.
Okay. Well, yeah, if I can find my wallet, I'll be out here tonight. I've misplaced my wallet. I hope nobody's got it, spending my tens of dollars that I have in the bank. So, if I can find it, I'll be out here for steak night. I want to recommend it to everybody. It's really good. The steak's really good, and, it's a beautiful setting. We keep talking about that. You don't really get to see anything but Joey and Matt and I, and as somebody commented, we have a face for radio and a voice for mime. So, it's tough here. But this is a really beautiful place. It's a great setting. It's an old Red Lion Inn, as it was called for years and years. But, you sit out here by the creek and eat supper. It's just a great setting.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're trying to take full advantage of that. You know, with the deck, with the temperatures kind of coming down into that perfect comfort.
Right.
You know, you can sit out on the porch, have that nice little breeze. You know, it's definitely not cold by no means, but you know, sitting out next to the creek with a nice big juicy steak right in front of you, it sure does make unwinding him for the evening a whole lot nicer.
Yo, we're gonna have to wrap this up because you talk about food, you're making me hungry.
I
haven't
hear
had my
that.
breakfast yet.
I haven't either. You said you had Steel Creek. What you got coming up this week?
So tonight we're still doing our steak night special, and then we'll start our weekly karaoke up tonight. Tomorrow, from 3 to 7, we're gonna have Mark Curtis from Steel Creek. He's gonna come up and do an acoustic show. So we're gonna hang out and have some music there Sunday afternoon, and you know, hopefully get some bikes up out here. You know, that's enjoying this weather this weekend, and you know, coming by and riding Pickens Highway and stuff like that. Then Thursday we'll have Beth Ime here. You know, Coach Ime's wife. She's gonna be over here playing piano for us, and
Right.
you know, setting that date night mood.
Well,
And,
that's something I appreciate that you do here is you feature a lot of local talent. You know, Mark Curtis and Beth Ime, Steel Creek. You know, you feature a lot of people who've grown up here. And if there's anybody out there who's listening, I'm not sure there is, but if there's anybody out there who's listening, this is just a great musical area. There's a whole lot of musical talent right here in this valley,
Yeah.
right here in this county.
We have a lot of stuff going on. We bring in a lot of people. You know, we've had Caleb Gilbert here a ton. You know, there's you know, I've got our calendar of events right here. You know, and it's booked up through the end of the year. We still have open spaces, so you know, if anybody's interested, you know, we'd throw them in there and throw them to the wolves. But you know, we have a good time. It's fun. This next Saturday, I know a lot of people frown on bicyclists, but you know, you know, it's it's called the Ride to the Rock,
Right.
From Pickens County Chamber of Commerce is doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing a big bicycle ride up Pickens Highway next weekend. But the good thing for Rosman is that they're turning around right here, so it's not going to cause anything going toward Rosman.
They're not going all the way.
No, they're coming to the lodge here, and this is their turnaround point.
Okay.
All right.
And so
It's next Saturday.
Yep.
What time?
Yep. So stay off the road.
And what time will that be?
I think they're starting pretty early. I think they're starting at 8 or 9 o'clock.
So they'll be here by.
If you're good, you know, by 10 or 11.
If it was us, it would be next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I would have to get a
So that
ride.
means we'll be having an abbreviated show
Right.
next Saturday.
well,
So,
Corey, do you recommend people make reservations for the steak dinner? Are you getting a full house, or can they just drop in? Or
So, you know, I always tell people, you know, we recommend reservations are not required.
Right.
You know, we're casual. You know, it's not. We're not trying to be some fine dining place that nobody can afford.
right?
You know, and it seems like a lot of people get that representation because, you know, we say, hey, you might want to make reservations because, you know, I want everybody to have a good experience.
Right.
And, you know, the longer somebody has to wait for a table, the less of a good experience they're having. You know, we try to make it as fun and enjoyable as we can, but, you know, there's only so many rocks you can skip down at the creek, you know, before you get tired of waiting.
Well,
So-
and, you know, most people aren't patient. I get really irritated. I wish I could do what my dad always said, everybody's got to be somewhere, so I'm going to be in this line. But I just don't have that kind of patience,
No.
and most people don't. You know?
But, you know, luckily, I tell you what, since we've opened, we've not had a wait list for longer than 10 minutes.
That's good. That's
So,
good.
you know, we're getting food out there, people's eating, and we're flipping the table pretty quick. So,
speaking
you know,
of food,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
hungry.
Corey, we appreciate your time, and as Matt's getting hangry over here, so
Yeah.
we need to go ahead and wrap this up and have some breakfast. But
Thank you for hosting us here.
We
And
really do
we're
appreciate
glad
it.
to. We're happy to have y'all, and now the 19th, real quick.
Right.
The 19th, it's going to be not this coming Thursday, but the next Thursday.
Right.
We're going to do a ribbon cutting and grand opening. You know, we've kind of been open for a while.
Right.
But we wanted to get our. I've never done anything like this, and so I wanted to make sure we had it right before we started pushing to get people in here, because I want to make sure that we've got all of our ducks in a row and we know what we're doing, and we can get the best food possible out in the best amount of time and give people the best experience possible. So, you know, we waited to do our ribbon cutting and grand opening and stuff. So we'll be doing that Thursday the 19th, and we'll have live music from Myron Hyman, and we'll have the Chamber of Commerce, the Tourism Development Authority, hopefully have some commissioners, mayor, you know, and have some fun. We'll do some taste testing stuff. So we'll have some.
What time is that?
They're doing the ribbon cutting at 3:00. So
You said tasting.
Yeah.
Mike's there.
That's what got Mike right there.
Well,
but y'all, thank y'all so much.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and we appreciate you supporting us and sponsoring us. And folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. Any final thoughts other than it's time to eat?
You know, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
All right. Until next time, good day and God bless the Tiger Nation.